Welcome to Scrapbook Live. I'm Megan Jacks. Today is March 1st, and we have a pretty straightforward layout for you today from the Creative Memories blog. This was originally published on August 26 in 2021, so about a year and a half ago from the You've Got This collection. It was kind of a collection that came out geared towards teens. I've had some denim, had some tie-dye. I've used it for various things, but I'm going to be using actually a different collection today for this layout, just like I've done with the other ones, always showing how these blog projects can be carried over with other collections. So don't let what you see in front of you on the blog, the collection or the tools stop you. If you love the layout, give it a shot with your photos, your materials, and you will just, I'm sure, love the results as well. So if you're watching this on Facebook Live, the first comment will have the link to get the handout. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you will see a link in the description below that has the link to my blog where you can download the PDF and print it off. I simply copy over the directions from the Creative Memories blog into the handout. It's just a printable format, a little bit easier for you to get that for your binder if you keep a binder of ideas. So I can see here on Facebook Live, you guys are all telling me about your wonderful sunny weather in various places. I'm really jealous. I'm really jealous. One of these days I will make some spring. I'm going to go to spring training, I think, in Florida one of these years. It just sounds wonderful. Arizona's great, but I mean, Florida, heck, you can go to the beach after the game's over with, right? Can't beat that. So the other quick thing I want to do is just a really quick shout out. And then there's Donna talking. She's in Barbados. Oh my gosh, I'm getting distracted with all these. A quick shout out before we get started. There is a free shipping promo. I want to make sure everybody knows about that right now with Creative Memories. If you're in the US, the dollar amount to get the free shipping is $80. An order of $80 or more is going to get you free shipping. We've got a great new collection with Painted Garden. We've got NSD that's out there. So take a look. You may have a wish list that you've got, you've been sitting on. This is a great opportunity to get those products. That free shipping will last until March 10th at noon Central Time. So if you're watching this video later, it's past March 10th. Sorry, that promo is over. There'll be another one coming down the road at some point. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take you over here to my desktop and we will dive into today's project. So as I mentioned, I am going to be using the Real Good Times is the paper pack. It's paper and stickers. It was part of the promo that happened this last July. We had like 4 different options, and Real Good Times was one of them. It came with a really fun punch that had looked like a dad and a child, or a grandpa and a child fishing off of a bench. Really fun. I'm not going to be using that punch. You see here I have a little bit from the Friendly Fish border maker, or excuse me, border punch. That just goes a little bit more with my theme. I've got my 2 kids in here and with dad, so it'll be fine. But the handout, one of the things I want to point out in the handout is I have given you some options here for the different sizes of these spaces. And I mentioned in the blog post that if this has only 3 photos in it, the sample on the blog, right? Because they're really wanting to show off all the cute elements that are part of the You Got This collection. But when we get down to actually scrapbooking, that sometimes, as much as we love showing off all the little stuff, and maybe you have a layout that just has 3 images and it's perfect, but a lot of times I'm always hearing that you want more images on your layouts. And so I'm going to talk about more ways to do that. And one of the ways to help you was to give you the dimensions for these other pieces here, so you would know what size of photos to put in the layouts if you wanted to sub in photos instead of their decorative pieces. So I have already pre-cropped several of my photos, some down to 3x4. 3x4, I will admit, can sometimes be a little challenging to work with. I actually had some photos that I was able to crop from 4x6 down to 3x4. Oftentimes when I need 3x4s, what I will do is on my phone, I will use either, I have an Epson PictureMate PM400. I will use the Epson Creative print app to make little collages, because you can do 3x4s on a 4x6. I will do it that way. Sometimes I'm already in Photoshop. I'll make the collage there. You can use the Project Life app. There's lots of ways you can get those 2 3x4 photos on a 4x6. And then once you have that 4x6, you can print it home. You can send it off to your favorite photo lab, just various ways to do that. So if you need those 3x4s and you know ahead of time you want some 3x4s to work with, you can get those made into a little collage and send off to print. The other items I do have, I have 2 4x4s. I am making one little change. In this center section here, we can see that it's not a square. They actually tell us in, they say, oh, I have it as 4.5, but it's supposed to be 4.25. So there is a mistake on here, guys. I'm really sorry. That actually makes more sense. I thought the 4.5 was really big. It should be 4.25. So this should be 4.25, where it says 4.5. I will update that and put the new, and put the revised handout on my blog. But it is the 4.25 by 4 are these areas here. So this center section is not 4 inches. It's 4.25 inches tall. So I'm actually going to shrink that down to 4x4. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space at the top and the bottom, only 1/8 of an inch. So, and when we put this together, I'll talk about how I'm going to do that to make sure I get the right sizes. I'm actually going to, as usual, deviate from their instructions when it comes to layout because I'm using different materials. They are, they're very specific in the materials here. I'm still not 100% sure what color paper I'm going to use for my cross pieces or what I'm going to use at the top and the bottom. I kind of know, but I want to get some pieces on here first, and then that's actually going to help me place the top of these hash marks. You'll actually see in step 2, they simply tell you, you cut the 4 1/4-inch strips and then you adhere them in a hashtag pattern, but they don't give you any measurements. They don't tell you where to put them. So that can be a little bit intimidating when making a layout like this. You're like, well, where do I put them? So we're going to place that first 3x4 photo here in the middle. And that's going to guide us on where we put those, because those strips we can see are all around that middle image. So you'll need your 13x13 mat, and you're going to want to have your photos pre-cropped. If you have other elements you're using and those are pre-cut into those pieces, that's great. I have a few done, but not all of them, because once again, I wanted to get things on here. I want to talk, figure out what colors do I think are going to look good. The other bonus to making the adjustments from going to the 4x4.25 down to 4x4 for this section, I will be able to come in and use 4x4 mat or 4x4 peekaboo pockets and the 3x4 peekaboo pockets. So this is going to be a layout. If you got some of those, the Variety Pack 3 of the peekaboo pockets, it was available earlier in mid-February. This will be a great layout for those. This is a great way to add more elements here if you wanted to have more photos. So you can actually get quite a few photos on here. Okay, so let's get started. I've got my photos, as I said, they're pre-cropped. I've got more than the 3. I've actually got 6 photos here to work with. I've got some stickers. You will want some decorative elements, whether you make them yourself, embellishment stickers. I've got lots here to work with. I've already actually created a little 3x4 sticker cluster on a background. I was playing around last night, because you guys know that takes me forever to figure that out. So I already put one together. So what we're going to do is you need a background piece. They talk about using a tonal piece of paper. I am using a piece of cardstock. I'm going to use navy. That's going to have some real nice contrast around my photos and just give everything that little bit of a pop. So actually what I need to do is I'm going to grab my trimming mat, because the first thing we're going to do is we are going to set the center 3x4 element. All right. The other thing I need to do, I know from experience, my navy cardstock is going to be a little bit bigger than 12 inches. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut it down to 12 inches just to make sure. That's going to be easier. You may not have to do that. Like I said, navy is just a little bit bigger. Get some scissors. My I've said this before, my table is a folding table, and sometimes folding tables are not the best to cut on with the trimmer. It bows a little bit in the middle. So I just quickly snip that off. Turn it. I'm going to cut the other side at 12 inches. This side actually looks pretty good. Let me just... Now I'll go ahead. I'm going to give it just a trim. I think I slid a little bit. I'm probably under 12 inches now. Oh, I did. See, mistakes happen. If I wasn't so caught up in the measurements, it wouldn't be a big deal. I'm only going to cut one side this time because this side is okay. It's the other side. Now they're both showing good. Well, I may just make it work. Oh, there it is. There's the side that's a little long. There we go. Okay, got my 12 by 12. The other one will become my sacrificial, chop it up with punches and everything else later. All right, so I know this is my center image. I'm going to put my paper on my trimming mat. And I think what I will go ahead and do, because I am going to be heavily relying on my mat, heavily relying on it. This is all about a grid. When you're working with a grid, using the mat is going to be key. I am going to use a little bit of repositionable adhesive, and I'm going to stick my paper down to my trimming mat. And this is just going to make sure that I can set it once and it will maintain that square the entire time. There we go. So I've used that repo adhesive on the back side, of course, and I'm going to stick it down here. Now what I need to do is, as I said, I am making adjustments. So my 3x4, I want mounted directly in the middle. So that is going to be, the 3x4 image is actually going to, the top will be at 8 inches. Well, oh, that's over here. If I'm on the right side, I can come down to 4 inches. That should be the top. And in the middle, it should be coming over to 5.5 inches. So I want the top to be at 4 inches from the top. If you are working with the bigger size, you want to go that 4 1/4 inch, you're going to come up and actually be 3 7/8. But I'm at 4 because I want my center section to be a 3x4. So there is, right here is the top. I've got my T-square ruler. You can use a regular ruler. And I'm just coming across from the 8 inches on the left. It says 8 on the left. It's 4 on the right. I'm going to hold this in place while I move my T-square ruler around. And I already said I need this at 4.5 inches. So this right here should be center. I'm going to hold it in place. Well, I didn't do a very good job holding it in place. I'll come back, put my T-square ruler. Double check it. This is all about, it's like when you're tiling something, that first piece you put down is the important one. We're going to base a lot on where that one is placed. So I'm double checking a couple of times to make sure I have it centered. There we go. That should be good. I'm going to lift up the bottom, put down some adhesive, and we should be good to go there. Once I've got this in place, the rest of this is going to go together pretty easy. All right, so now I am going to just do a quick dry fit of my elements. And what reason I'm going to do that is because I'm trying to determine where my hashtag strips are going to be. I was thinking I was going to use green, but now I'm really torn because maybe I want to use a little bit of this red. They have, the other side has the bobbers. I don't necessarily like the faded red on this side, so I would need to use the red that has the fishing icon or the fisherman icons, but then you won't be able to see the pattern very much. So I'm a little bit loose on this. I'm not sure. So we're going to start putting some pieces in place. This picture is going to go to that side. This picture is going to ultimately end up over here, but it's going to be as part of a peekaboo pocket under, so I'm going to not put it in place. It's actually going to be a water piece. Oops, nope. Excuse me, the other side. I cut a 4 by 4 inch piece. These are 4 by 4 inches of the lures, the fishing lures. I'm going to put a piece that there, and then the friendly fish is going to go across, and I'll put a little sticker title on there. And then I've just got my photos. I'm just going to put these in place. And like I said, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of trying to help myself imagine. And I think this little buddy was going to come down here. These will have a little bit more space between them. And I think I am going to go with the green. I like the idea of the red in there, but I think I'm going to go with green. Part of it is because the fishing hooks, you can see the pattern, are make it a little bit more even. There won't be just like random little dark and light spots in the strips like there would be with this pattern, because it's just much. This pattern works better if you can do big chunks of it, right? Because you've got bigger icons that are a little bit more spread out. And then at the top and the bottom, I will be putting the wood strips across the top and the bottom. I'll cut this so you can see that pattern. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and I'm going to cut some 1/4 inch strips out of this piece of paper. 1/4 inch strips. The 1/4 inch is roughly about from the cut line, my dash cut line, the left dash cut line here, all the way over to the gray. The biggest thing here is you just want them to be equal size. And roughly that 1/4 inch, because that's the spacing is set up for 1/4 inch. So one strip will go here. I'm also going to tell you that cutting the 1/4 inch strips, if you are not comfortable cutting thin strips, sometimes it just takes practice. Sometimes I have more success cutting cardstock than I do designer paper. I have gotten used to it. I'm pretty good with it now, but it did take some time. I find myself holding the paper in place as I move down the strip, and that one didn't come out. I didn't make sure I had a good solid cut on the first one. And like I said, that's because I'm cutting on a my folding table. One of these days I will upgrade to a nice table. I just need to press harder. There we go. And you just need 4 strips. There we go. So I've got all 4 strips. Now it's time to set those strips into place. And they will be put in place You're going to want to use your cutting mat to help you. Line things up evenly on all the sides here. And like I said, for me, I am lining them all up just evenly around this center photo, right? So now what I just can do is I can just start figuring out, what does that look like? What do I need for spacing? If I want to bring in my other photos, I can come back here, get an idea. You don't want a lot of space. I can tell right now I don't have room for a lot of space, especially these vertical ones. The spacing, if I'm going to get a 4x4 photo or a decorative element on either side, I need to make sure I am pretty close. You can see I don't have a lot of room around it. These the vertical ones need to be really close. I've got probably a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so keep things close to that. If you are using the 1/4 inch, you would have started your photo up higher, and you would need to make sure that you give yourself that space on either side. You'd actually, yeah, you would have come down to 3 7/8. Your photo is actually going to come a little bit lower. I'm trying to think where you need to do. Yeah, you're going to be up here at 3 7/8, but then you need to give yourself a little bit more space down here for that. And that should work out. I would basically, make sure you have all your elements in place if you're using that taller. I personally like the 4x4 just because, like I said, I'm going to be able to use those 4x4 peekaboo pockets real easy on there. It just gives you a little bit more top and bottom. That element at the top and the bottom would be a little bit bigger, which is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pieces into place. I think I will just go ahead and put my vertical ones on first. I'm going to use repositionable adhesive because I want to be able to easily move things around. You could use the mini adhesive if you want. That would work really well. I know my picture starts, I am 4.5 inches from the right side. So I can come down here. It's actually between 7 and 8 on the trimming mat at the bottom. I'm just going to start this just to the right of that 1/2 inch mark and come up here and be just to the right of the 1/2 inch mark at the top. And that should give me, theoretically, what I want. With long strips, you will find that you probably have to do a little bit of guidance in the middle. And I'm putting my hooks on completely upside down. Thin strips are easy to kind of wobble through the length that you put them. So you'll want to do some guidance right through the middle here to make sure it stays straight. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to use that piece. No, it's fine. Just slightly to the left of the 1/2 inch mark. Now we'll put the horizontal pieces in place. I started mine 4 inches from the top, so I'm going to come down just before that 4 inches. This is going to be a great layout if you need to expand it into 2 pieces. It also would be a great layout that if you have a little more of a signature companion page to go with it, maybe a little bit fancier page, using this technique for a companion page, you could just fill it all up with photos if you wanted to, or still have a little bit of those decorative elements in there. But it's a great way to have, it would make a nice companion page. You can, of course, rotate it 90 degrees if you found yourself that you need more a different orientation. There are 2 horizontal 3x4s versus just 1 vertical. If you needed to reverse that, you could. I'm going to stick this photo in here, and my margins look pretty good. I am happy with them. Now that I've got this kind of in place, I can go ahead and put this photo down. And if I need to make adjustments, I could. I could have put it in place after I had my horizontals, or excuse me, my vertical pieces in, but I'm happy to just put it in now. Make a little bit of adjustment with these horizontal pieces. You'll find when you're putting your pieces on, especially the designer paper, like I said, there's just that little bit more wiggle room. I'm going to put this fishing lures in place over on this side. Wanted just a little bit more of a decorative element over here. That blue is really, the navy is really shining through really nice. I really like it. Giving a nice dark contrast around all these boxes. This piece is going to come down here. I am just going ahead and putting these other elements. I mean, once you get those hashtags, the hashtag set, everything else is going to come together pretty quickly. I still don't have some of my other decorative boxes cut. I wasn't sure on the colors. I was going to wait until I got more of this set, and I'll work through those once I get my pictures all adhered. I love that this green tone matches the greens in my photos just wonderfully. And I even laughed because I had stickers that truly matched my pictures. The water, I don't know what they're called, the things in the water matched the things in the water of my pictures. We are not fishermen, so I get excited. This pack, this Real Good Times, was perfect for me. It's going to have just enough fishing elements in it that I'll be able to use it on a few different layouts. We are not fishing people, so we went camping. The kids, we didn't catch fish. I mean, this was like throwing in, if we have the cattails. Thank you. Somebody mentioned they're cattails. When we did this, we had gone camping up near, oh my goodness, I can't think of the town in Arizona. Anyway, we went camping, and they had a lake right there. And so we were able to just basically take our little fishing, the kids play fishing ones, and just, they casted is all they really did. My son here may have had, I don't even know if he had a worm on there. It was all about just casting. And I think they did have worms, but we were putting them back. We were tossing them back. If we got anything good, we were tossing them back. I actually just remembered this piece right here actually is going to have to go into will end up in a peekaboo pocket. I just put it down with repositionable, so I probably will leave it as is, but ultimately it's going to end up in a peekaboo pocket that's going to end up on there. When you'll flip it open, I'll have a spot for some journaling, and there'll be this photo of my husband with the kids. So that's the plan for that area there. If I had more 3x4 photos, I could use the 3x4 peekaboo pocket. I could have added, one in the middle that would flip up, or one to the side. But I'm going to use the 4x4 in this spot right here. But for the sake of this video, for everything else, I am just going to go ahead and leave it as is. I will make that adjustment later. I punched Friendly Fish out of the navy and cut it into 4-inch sections. That's going to go right there. And then I'm going to use the Here Fishy Fishy right here. The Here Fishy Fishy, I don't think I'm going to use any foam squares. I'm having a moment there. Foam squares on it. I am just going to put it on here as such. I'm not going to put these on right now because I think what I'm ultimately going to do is I might mount this to a piece of navy cardstock, the one that I miscut, and then cut around it to give it just a little bit of a distinction on this. We got the Lures paper is pretty bold, a lot of pattern, a lot of, contrast to it. So I'll give it a little bit of pop by putting that navy on it. So I'm going to leave that off for right now. I'll do that once we're all set. So I see a question asking what collection. I am using Real Good Times. This was from the promo in July of 2022. It was one of the 4 different promos we had available. So now I need to put that strip at the top and the bottom, and then I'll finish filling in my 2 3x3 squares. I told you I was going to use the wood. I thought that would be a nice way to frame the top and the bottom. In our directions, they want us to use, it was a 1/4-inch strip, and they want us, I shrunk everything down by a 1/4 of an inch. So I have 2/8 of an inch to use. So I could do this at 3/8 of an inch top and bottom. I have a ruler. I always like to double check those measurements. If I do 3/8 of an inch, I've got closer to a 1/2 an inch at the bottom. Yeah, I could do almost a 1/2 an inch. If I do 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch might be okay though, if I want to keep a little bit of a border all the way around it. If I want to keep a little bit of that navy border, I can snip off my little pieces here. I think I'll do that. So I'm going to go just shy of 1/2 an inch, and I'm going to try one. I'm going to just go shy, so about that 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to cut it, and I'll see what it looks like, because maybe I need to make an adjustment. I think I need to cut them just a little bit bigger. I am going to go to that 1/2 an inch. This is me getting nitpicky. Yeah, I think I'll do 1/2 an inch. Yeah, the 1/2 inch will work fine. Give me that little bit there. What I am going to do is I'm going to snip off the little ends here. I don't want, you can see here what's happening at the top. See how that green's poking through? I really don't want that. I want a little bit of that blue, that very, very thin navy all the way around. All the way around. All right. So I'm going to use my scissors, grab my micro tip scissors, and I am going to cut off. And at the bottom, these bottom and top ones, I can cut off a little bit more. I don't have to be super precise because that brown, my wood grain tone is going to cover that up. My wood grain paper, going to cover it right up. On the side pieces, the two horizontal bars, I will need to be a little bit more careful. I want it to be more in line with the edge of my photos. And I'm also placing, I'm starting the edge so that I have a little bit left over. I'll show you here. And I'm working to try to get that space so that I have an even little bar, a little bit of blue, that navy showing through around the photo, and a little bit of navy coming through at the bottom. I'm having overhang come in here, and I am just gonna hand snip it. So here, let me show you. You can see right there, I started it a little ways from that edge. And then I cut it on the other side. And it just overlaps. And I'm coming in on the side here, and I'm just trimming off a little bit of that edge. Don't trim too, you want to trim, it's like 1/8 of an inch or even less. I'm just lifting, love repositionable adhesive, just lifting that and trimming off a little bit, laying it back down. I'm angling my cuts. There we go. I'll put the top one in place. I'm going to rotate it so that I can work with it at the bottom instead of leaning clear across the top of my layout. Come in here and snip off that edge. And then I have to snip these pieces as well. And that's, like I said, it's just going to give me that nice blue frame all the way around, which I think is going to look pretty darn good. I've got a really nice contrast between my papers. All right. So now I just need to figure out the top and the bottom. And this may be where I work in a little bit of that red. I'm going to tack this piece in place so it doesn't move. I want to give myself some flexibility with it because once I put my sticker on here, I may need to move it up or down a little bit. So just a little adhesive in the very middle should work fine for now. The top and the bottom, these top and bottom squares should be, yeah, 3 by 3 should be the size that are going to go in there. And I have the bobber paper. I think I will cut the bobber paper. The other option, well, I use the green. I can't use green there because I used it. I could come up here at the top and put another piece there. I wanted to use the I'd rather be fishing sticker because it's nice and square. I could easily just come in and just put that right there if I wanted to. I think it would look nice with the green or the red around it. So let me go ahead. I'm going to cut a 3-inch width strip of the bobber paper. And I don't know if I'm going to do 3 at the top and 3 at the bottom, or red at the top and red at the bottom. Normally I don't like to I think I'll go. Yeah, Julie's telling me I should foam square that sticker. I will tell you, I don't have a lot of elements that are foam squared in here, and maybe I will. One of the reasons I like to foam square is because when you do that, and I've got to look to see if I have any foam squares here. Oh, there are some big ones. When you foam square, it actually lets you move things around. You can also, of course, remove the adhesive, the tacky by with some baking soda can be a good option, and that gives you some ability to just put things on and they don't stick, right? You can kind of see. What do you think? But I'm really torn because maybe I was debating whether I was going to want some blue in here, like to have the red, but I don't want the blue next to each other here. What other colors are in this collection? I don't really want to bring up and I don't know if I just want to leave it blue. I mean, I could. What do you guys think of that? Is that a little too much blue up there? Or I could just bring, I could just still bring up, let me cut this one down to a 3x3. Because that was my other thing, is I didn't want this. I wanted, I could bring the blue in there. I don't want to cut any more paper if I don't have to, like full sheets. This is the first time I've cracked open this pack. And it's a promo pack, right? Those are hard to get a hold of. So you always want to be, when you're using the promo pack, you're like, okay, I got to be very deliberate. So there's that. I wish this sticker had a little bit more color variation in it. I wish it had that red, but then I'm down here at the bottom without the red. You see what I mean? I wish I had that red to carry up. Or the option is to go just this. So I guess the question is going to come navy or the lighter blue. So I'm give you guys a second to help me. The dark. Yeah, see, that's, I'm kind of thinking on the dark blue. This is the back side. What about that? I almost actually kind of like that. I think I'm going to go with that. You guys, let y'all have your opinions now. And of course, I have to wait for all the comments for you guys. You guys are all saying navy, but I don't know. Have you seen? I mean, there's a delay, right? Your guys' comments come in about 30 seconds after I've made any changes. So yeah, Julie's saying plaid for the win. So I'm thinking I might go with that plaid. Yep. I'm seeing you see it, like what I mean. It takes about 30 seconds. So I have to give you guys that time to actually see it. And I think I will maybe go ahead and use the darker. One of the reasons is I'm going to go ahead. I will put, we were in Show Low. That's it. Show Low, Arizona. There's a lake up there. I can't remember the name of the lake. But I will probably put the little, thing up here. So now somebody's saying I'll put the red on the top, the blue at the bottom. I think I want the red at the bottom. There's a little bit too much blue going on, and also this decorative elements right next to each other. I want to break that up just a little bit. That was the reason I was going to put the up here. So I'm going to do that. We'll go ahead. I am feeling confident. I just have to laugh about this. I had a customer who flew out for my retreat, Paula. She came in from Kansas City, and she just thought it was so funny whenever I would say, I'm feeling confident, so I'm going to use a regular adhesive. So this one's for Paula. I'm feeling confident. I'm going to use the regular adhesive. As she was making her layouts, she would just kind of say, I'm feeling confident. I'm going to use a regular adhesive. So that's great. I will go ahead and I'll stick that on later. When I'm on camera, it's hard for me to lean over and really see positioning this on that. So I want to, I mean, there's somebody saying I could come down here. I do agree that that would look good on the red, but I don't want the blue next to the blue down here. And so I'm going to leave this up here. Down here, I'm going to come in and use my white stickers that'll say Sholo, and then it's going to have, or lake. I have to look up the lake up on the map, lake, whatever. And this is seriously like 2002, or not 2002, 2012. It's been a while. So I do have one more little sticker that's going to go on. This grid layout was a little bit all about using the decorative elements. I am going to put a bit around here to let that stand out a little bit more. I do want a little bit of help. You can see all the other elements. This has a little bit of that cream border all the way around it. I don't know whether I'll use red around it. I don't know if I'll use red or I'll use, might be cute layered under there a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to add a little bit. I got to finish out this square here on that side. It's going to use the Here Fishy Fishy sticker because I think that's funny, because that's really what my kids were saying. Here Fishy Fishy. They really, really wanted, to catch. I don't even know if we caught anything that day. We were just fishing from the shore. It was all about the kids having fun casting. With our SpongeBob, you can see they're using a SpongeBob kids reel. Is pretty funny. So that is a layout. Like I said, I'll put the title down here. This will ultimately become a peekaboo pocket. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but eventually I will. This will actually be mounted to the page. This decorative element will go inside the peekaboo pocket. The back side, I will have some journaling paper or something there that I can write a little bit about our Sholo fishing expedition that was it was ultimately part of our camping trip. It was hot. Camping in Arizona is no joke. You got to make sure you've got shade. It's like camping a lot of places. So that's always fun there. So that is the layout for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I've got a couple of things I got to finish up there, but you can see it's a great layout, a great place to start. Just starting with your center image is going to be your best bet, because the directions don't really give us any help on where to put those strips. But if you put your center image in, that's going to dictate everything else. So get that one into place. If you stick to the measurements that are there, with that minor adjustment. So for those of you who joined us late, there's an adjustment that's going to be coming on the handout. In the places on the squares where I tell you this square and that square, I say they're 4 by 4.5 inches. They are 4 by 4.25. But that is according to their directions. And I make the adjustment to actually move everything up to 4 by 4 so that you can have just a little easier to work with. That peekaboo pocket's going to fit in there just perfect. And I hope you guys were able to pick up some of those variety packs of peekaboo pockets. If you are not, I'm crossing my fingers that maybe we'll see them added to our lineup later this summer. Last year in February, when they had a lot of that stuff sold out, the stuff that sold out quickly, we saw the foam tape and the photo tapes sell out really quickly. Those are actually added into our regular lineup in August of that year. So maybe later this summer, we'll see some of those products that sold out really fast in that adhesive buffet join our regular lineup. So we'll just wait and see what Creative Memories has in store for us for that. But also that quick reminder, like I said, if you are watching this video and it is before March 10th at 12 p.m. Central Time, there is a free shipping promotion. I definitely want to talk about that. If you do put an order, make sure you're supporting an advisor. You can find one local to you on the advisor locator. You can also shop with me. But definitely, support an advisor. We all work so hard to make sure you guys have a good time scrapbooking. It always means so much when you get those orders that come in. So if you guys want to share your layouts, I would love, love, love to see them. We always love to see the collections, the tools, especially this one. There's going to be a little more decorative elements. How do you work with that? Share them into my Scrapbooking with Meggan Facebook group. That would be fantastic. You can also share them in the Ideas and Inspiration group. That is a group that I manage with Tessa. Couple of quick things coming up for the month of March. We have a full slate of classes for you guys. If you go to megganandtessa.com, you'll see all those. We have Power Hour is going to be coming up on March 14th. Followed that week by our NSD, our National Scrapbook Day project workshop. That project workshop is a free workshop. We're going to be putting together the project recipe from National Scrapbook Day. We're also putting together, there's 6 additional projects in the project workbook. So if you've ordered the customer bundle from Creative Memories for the National Scrapbook Day, you'll have everything you need. The only thing you would need to add is going to be the lemon punch and the citrus slice punch. All those details are on the Meggan and Tessa site, but that's a free class. If you've bought that kit, you join us. We're going to be putting it together. Even if you just have the project recipe, join us. The first part, we'll be putting that project recipe together. It's going to be recorded. So if you don't have your materials in time, it will be recorded. You can always watch it later. And then we are ending out the month with a National Scrapbook Day. Well, the first class is going to be March 28th. It's a Tuesday evening. We'll be doing our Painted Garden page makers. That collection, I don't know about you guys, I am super excited that they went with a little bit bolder, richer colors for the spring collection, which is fantastic if you ask me. I'm not always crazy about pastels. They definitely serve their purpose, and I've worked with our spring collections before, but I'm super, super excited to get my hands on Painted Garden. It's beautiful. And then we're going to be doing the National Scrapbook Day card class. We've done this in the past for the past several National Scrapbook Days. We're going to have 12 cards for you to put together. If you want to do that class with us, you will need an extra project recipe kit. We use half of that kit plus the stickers and the mini pack of embellishments to do 12 cards. And then Tessa always puts together a wonderful bonus layout for us using the leftovers that I don't use when I put together the cards. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. I will have this layout ready as a picture on Facebook. If you're watching this on the video later, you'll see it flash at the end of this video. Always reach out to me if you have questions. We will plan to see you next week. If you guys have seen the beautiful Painted Garden layout that uses the decorative trimmer, I've had a few people message me about that one. Yes, I am planning to do that as a Scrapbook Live. I'm just waiting for them to put out the directions. I'm pretty certain I could put it together myself just based on the photo, but I thought we'd wait till the directions and officially comes out on the blog. And then we can see if there's any hints and stuff in there for that. So once that comes out, we'll get that as part of our Scrapbook Live, because I know you guys are going to love putting that one together. It's fabulous, fabulous design. So always check out the blog when you're in need of ideas. There's great ideas out there. The designers that Creative Memories uses to put those together are fantastic. So thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys next week.